Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Just one quick reminder. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Richard, the team, and their guests as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow as financial advice. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cryptocurrent. Your host here, Richard Carthon. And today I have a special guest all the way out in Dubai working on a project and scenario that is near and dear to me as we look at the world of DeFi and banking the unbanked. We have Sandi, the 3Air CEO. How are you doing today?
Hello, Richard. I'm doing good. Thanks.
Of course. Well, thank you for being a part of the show. I'm excited to learn more about everything you have going on. And to start that off, I want to learn a little bit more about you. Do you mind giving us a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure, why not? So, where should I start? Probably since I was a kid, because the majority of things start there. So I was really a sick kid, and I couldn't do sports a lot. So instead, I did computers. I started with 6 years old with my Commodore 64, and then computers were like part of my life all the time. I didn't study anything in with computers, so my background is economy. I think that's kind of a good mix in regards to crypto, right? Knowing something about computers and knowing a lot about economy also. But I'm a self-taught developer, so I am a full-stack developer. Worked on a few projects myself. I really like to get my hands dirty, although lately I cannot. I'm in a different position right now. Done some smart contract work also. I tend to know how the developers think, but I also have the idea of the business and the economy and the tokenomics behind it. That's kind of my background. That's it.
Yeah, and it's a great background. The fact that you are able to merge the technical aspect of it, especially as it relates to things being built on blockchain and coming into the crypto world, but then also the economics of understanding how economics work and then blending that into decentralized finance, aka DeFi, and brings you to how you even built your company in the first place. But what was that first introduction into the crypto blockchain space? Like, how did you get first learn about this space?
Well, to be honest, I kind of came a bit late to the party. It was just that I was a bit of in a different project before, and I came to one project where I needed to buy something with Bitcoin. And then I was like, "It's this Bitcoin? I heard it before, never paid really attention to it. But then I started looking into it, how it actually works, why it was created, what's the story behind. And then I was like, this is something really good. I should probably be doing something with it." And this is how I then started. It was first a deep dive into Bitcoin and how the blockchain works and how Bitcoin actually works. And then, of course, next one was Ethereum and looking into smart contracts and so on. And then I got involved with a few really, really good projects. Just at the really early stage made me, I gotta smile, when I think about those days, because it started with literally not really a lot, but it became a huge success for me. And yeah, Now I'm doing my own stuff.
Which is great. And it's cool that your first introduction was having to use it and finding out, learning deeper of like, okay, why am I doing this? And so it's even relevant into what 3 areas. So we're going to unpack with 3 areas, but essentially one of the things that's on here, which I think is really cool, is one of the things you're trying to accomplish is banking the next billion and banking the unbanked. So as you explain what 3 air is, can you kind of explain why you're trying to tackle this problem?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to travel, say it like this, and also my first crypto, as I said, when I needed to pay with Bitcoin, was actually in a place that's not really doesn't have a lot of people banked. So it was a third world country, and I seen how people actually use it there. But I also seen people that were without internet. Spoke to them a bit, and I thought I should try and do something in that sense. And fortunately, I do have some friends that have a really good solution in regards to providing broadband internet exactly to such areas where there's no infrastructure there. We talked about it, and they were saying, look, we are running it already in Sierra Leone. We're having such trouble. It's like people coming into our offices, paying for services in cash. How could we do it a bit differently so that really they don't need to come into our offices? And the guys actually sent out two guys to collect the money. And it went good the first month, right? It went good the second month, the third month. They already knew somebody was waiting for them, and they got dropped. And they got dropped quite a lot of times already doing it. So right now, when they say send out people to collect the money, right now they cannot tell anymore when exactly they're coming. It needs to be random. So at that point in time, I was already into crypto, and I was like, you should probably think about having crypto integrated. It looks like a solution, and it looks like it's taking over the world. And this is when I then became involved in such a project. And it's really mostly about helping people, connecting them to the internet, and also giving them all the tools that they need to become financially free. Because it's possible. It really is possible in today's world with crypto and blockchain.
It is. And it looks like you're trying to tackle this not only just for a cause, but attacking a challenge that is being faced right now and having solutions that are actionable right now in this moment. So it's a blend between bringing DeFi to the unbanked, but then if the unbanked don't even have access to internet, which is essential because most of the world runs on internet these days, especially as it relates to banking, you're now providing them with the internet through broadband. So can you kind of unpack that a little bit more? So how are you able to blend these two together through 3Air?
Yeah, so on one side, we have the technology. It's a in-house developed patented technology where we can set up base stations. And then we have a wireless link, a 50 kilometers radius from our base stations, and we can really deliver high-speed internet. It's up to 1 gigabit per second. And through the same link, we actually deliver also digital TV in HD quality and IP telephony. So that's one part of the business, let's say it like this. And it's not really blockchain bound. And then we have a blockchain platform that was at first it was built just to provide a payment solution and also to provide a identity solution. Because people in Africa, we are focused really on Africa currently. We think there is the most potential for what we're trying to do, and there is also the most life that we can affect. Not everyone has a identity card, and there's also blockchain is one of the solutions that I personally think that will take over the identification in the future. So this is why we also trying to provide them with both the identity, and also with a financial tools and revenue streams. And in regards to internet, we are also merging this into the internet connectivity. So in Sierra Leone, we have everything set up currently in regards to providing internet, and we are using just 2 base stations to cover whole Freetown. And we're covering with 2 base stations around 90% of Freetown. And for the rest 10%, we actually tried to implement a mesh network system. So we you can think about it, we place access points. You can think about it like routers at home. They are just connected one to the other, and then it creates a area where you can seamlessly connect to a wireless signal. So this is we are providing this infrastructure to the end user. The end user can then share his connection, and for this access point to actually be operational, tokens need to be staked in it, because we do want a secure network, and this is let's say an insurance. The tokens are kind of an insurance in the access point. And with this, people can actually share their connection and earn also a revenue on it.
Got it. Okay. So just so I can understand the concept of it. So phase 1 is being able to provide the internet, the infrastructure. So with providing these physical things that you drop and then they kind of connect to it, by then receiving tokens, they can then stake those tokens to help build out the broadband, at which they can then use the internet itself, but then also get paid and rewarded for helping building out that broadband network in order to use it. Is that about right?
Yeah, it is. So you can think about the access point kind of like a node. Although we're not confirming any transactions there, it's just the tokens are staked there for the access point to actually be able to operate in that sense. So it is an additional security there, like that. And we are also binding the token to a lot of other things. What we're trying to do is when we connect people, we need to provide them with some hardware. So you need, at least a router, a modem, and these things. And what we are doing as a company, we're actually leasing them that hardware, but we also want to empower them to be able to own that hardware themselves, and we also want to educate them. So we came up with a system where when we provide them an internet connection and we lease them that hardware, we also give them tokens staked. So let's say I give you hardware that's worth $100. I would then also stake for you maybe $20, $30. We didn't do exact math there yet. We need a bit more input for that. And those tokens will be staked for at least a year. So for each client that we're onboarding, we're also staking tokens. And those tokens after a year can be unstaked. So the end user can say, okay, I want to unstake. And if he unstakes, then he must pay us back the $100 for the hardware that we've given them. And then he actually becomes the owner of the hardware. And if the tokens are at that point worth more, he actually can keep the rest of the tokens. But what we are getting is not only paid for the hardware back, we are actually getting an educated client. And that's probably the most important and the most valuable thing, because if you have some token stake there, you'll probably look at it. Everybody knows when you have some crypto in your wallet, you tend to look at it, at least 10 times per day, right? and then people start to educate themselves, and what's this staking? Why? How is it working, and how can it help me? And this is the most important thing.
Got it. Okay. So I think that part of it's pretty unique. So they're receiving some hardware. They're then able to have it be automatically staked for them to where they can hopefully earn enough to where they can then purchase that hardware. So then it's just outright theirs. Then I also understand a piece of DeFi from staking to unstaking to then paying you virtually to get that done. And then understanding some different centralized finance elements of this. And then if they decide to then stake again themselves, they can then, whatever they earn on top of that, they get to basically keep all of it. Now, something that I want to bring up in this scenario is the importance of understanding the underlying technology that it's built upon. One of the challenges that I've personally had with Ethereum as it relates to decentralized finance is that it can become very expensive due to gas. Gas fees become very expensive to the point where it kind of not let everyone participate. However, I believe y'all are built on scale. Can you kind of explain why you made that decision and how that's impactful towards something like this?
Yeah, so in regards to scale, me personally, I think that the scale guys, they have some cool stuff going on. How they design their blockchain seems really, really amazing. And I do like their scalability solution where they actually spin up a blockchain. You can think about like sharding, but each shard has its own project. So we are getting our own chain. And in that sense, nobody can really clog up our and slow down our transactions and make the gas fees up. And what it actually allows us is to provide gasless or let's say zero gas fee to the end user. It's not like really gasless because you still need some gas, but the gas is actually free. So I think that's a really important thing to have in Africa, especially because people tend to kind of invest smaller amounts and trade smaller amounts, or just operate with not really big numbers. So if then there is 20, 30, 40, or even more dollars worth of gas to pay, it just ain't happening. And in Africa, virtually almost no one uses Ethereum as their primary blockchain. If they're really forced, they'll use it, but else they really won't. So with this, we virtually provide zero gas fees for the end user.
Right. And I think that's going to be very helpful, and it makes a lot of sense for the solution that you're providing. I want to go back to a point that you brought up earlier around one of the other elements of what makes 3Air so special. So you talked about a couple of solutions, broadband network, being able to provide broadband through basically providing a physical device, introducing decentralized finance where they'll be able to stake, earn rewards, and then be able to pay for things through that. But then you talked about identification as well, talking about virtual identity. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit more and why you think being able to help with solving that particular challenge and how it's going to be useful in the future?
Yeah, sure. So right now there is a proposal for a standard that's called DEED. W3C is actually coming up with that standard. So DEED stands for decentralized identities or decentralized identifiers. And I do think that's the future of identifying. And with it, I think that's actually the heart of Web3 that everybody's talking about. I don't think that Web3 will kind of really pick up without, it's all about owning your own data, not only owning your own coins or something like that, or any financial instruments. It's also about owning your own data. And I think these are the ones that are allowing this. So these are actually a kind of an identifier, and behind it, you can store your data. And because this data has been validated by a third party that you can trust, I don't need to show you my data, because what I need to show you is that somebody validated it, that you trust, and that I have that data. Or for instance, if a policeman stops you and asks you if you have your driver's license, you don't need to give him the driver's license. On the driver's license, there is so many data that a policeman doesn't need. Why does he need to know where you live, right? He doesn't even need to know what's your name. He just needs to know if you have a driver's license, right? And if I can show him that I actually have, and that's a yes or no answer, actually, and if he trusts the third party that validates them, I don't need to show him that data. And that's just a start. You can then store a lot of other information. Like, for instance, what we are really focused on is building a kind of a credit score for for our customers, just because we also want to provide them some microloans opportunity. And you cannot build up a credit score without an identity. And I think a decentralized identity is perfect for something like this, because also a credit score might not be only about your income and such things. A lot of credit score right now also goes into some other personal things, and there's a lot of personal information that maybe it's hard to be shared. It can be misused and can be sold and something like that. So a digital identity or a decentralized identity actually prevents that. It brings you back into control of your own data.
And that's really important. And as we look at this, and there's a lot to unpack there. So everyone listening, go make sure you re-listen to that, because there were a lot of different elements that this doesn't just apply to the people that Sandi's going after for 3-year, but even for your own self. As you look at Web 1, Web 2, a lot of the information and things that you were putting out there don't serve you. It's you doing things online, and then the companies that underneath who own all of the infrastructure getting paid because they are coming in and using it. As we go to Web 3, your data is your own, and you are the one who should be benefiting and receiving some of the profits that come with using that information. And so even as you go out into the world and you start to share pieces of information, you don't have to share all of the information to get what you need done. And so this is a unique way to do this digitally, and it will be a really cool stepping stone as we go into the future in the world of Web3. So Sandi, thank you for breaking that down. Really quickly, a lot of people, there's a lot that we unpacked here today. And I think I know me, myself, I'm excited to keep learning more about this. And for people who's listening to this, is like, wow, this sounds really amazing. I want to be a part of this, or I want to see how I can be involved. At the time of this recording, you're currently going through a pre-sale. By the time this goes live, it'll probably just be finishing up. But for those who still want to participate in the token sale, how would they potentially be able to do that?
Yeah, so we are launching on a few launch pads that we are not disclosing at this moment in time when we are recording, but probably once it's live, you should just go either to our website, probably the best, and that's 3air.io. It's 3 with a number, and air, the air that you breathe. It's actually because we are delivering like 3 services over air, so that's why it's 3air. So 3air.io. And you'll have all the links there. And probably the best is also to just connect to us on some socials, either on Twitter, on Telegram, or on Discord. And you'll find all the information there.
Excellent. And we'll make sure to share all of that information in the show notes. So if you're listening to this, go check out our show notes and we will have all those links. But Sandi, as we wrap up here, I always like to finish with a couple of fun questions. The first is, you've now been in this space for a while, and you've been working on 3Air for a portion of time as well. With all the information you have right now, if you could go impart 1 to 2 pieces of wisdom to yourself when you first got started building this, what would you tell yourself?
Well, I do think that doing real due diligence on project is really, really important. So I would, before I kind of go into any projects right now, and I didn't do that just at the beginning, I would really dig deep into it. So I did go a lot into how blockchain actually works to be able to understand it. And I do think that helped me also with picking out the right project, because then you know what makes sense and what doesn't. So I did this right, but I would like to stress that I think it's really, really important. Although it's kind of geeky way of doing it, I find it really, it's worth the while to understand that.
For sure. Do your due diligence, research, and especially before you dive into something, make sure you really have a pretty good understanding of what you're getting into. So I appreciate that sentiment. And as we wrap up here, and you've dropped, again, a ton of really good information on all of the things that you have going on over at 3Air. What's the final thought that you want to leave with the listeners here today?
Yeah, just one thing. So I mentioned that we are already operational, right, in Sierra Leone. So I literally can see how a few lives that I know personally changed with the internet. Currently in Sierra Leone, there are around 10,000 people that are using our connections already, and we are there on our testing round. So there was no real marketing behind it or something like that. It's literally a testing round. So right now we have a expansion to two really big economies confirmed, and we're also doing some collaboration with the African Chamber of Digital Commerce and the Nigerian Ministry of Communication. So we want to connect and educate around 3.5 million students. And I really am passionate about this. And I think projects that makes the most, such projects actually go back to why Bitcoin was created, why blockchain actually should exist. And I think that we kind of lost this idea during the few bull cycles where everybody's just making millions and millions, and we're forgetting that we should be giving back. And I hope that this is what we can do, that we can really change lives of millions. And I would like everyone to be part of it.
For sure. I think that is a very profound. Yes, we are in the business of being business people and making money, et cetera, but it is possible to do it with a cause. It is possible to not only change your own life, but to change others and to provide them access to things that you already have access to that mean something to you and is actually changing your life for the better. So why not provide a way for it to do the same for someone else while still growing your own? So I connect with that. I appreciate you sharing that. And, congratulations on already, the impact that you have in place and for the future impact that is still to come. I think this is a really amazing project. So everyone make sure you go check out all the links that we're going to be sharing. But Sandi, I know you said it before, but one more time, what are the best ways that people are going to be able to connect with you and learn more about everything happening at 3Air?
Yeah, the best thing is just to go to 3air.io and read a bit there and connect to our socials. We also have a big blog and we have a big docs section. So there's a lot written of what we're doing, how we're doing it. Even our white paper has 130 pages. I know that not everyone will take the time to read it, but I do urge you, go read it. You'll see how much sense it makes what we're actually doing.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for spending time with us. Everyone, make sure to go check out 3Air. And for everyone listening, stay cryptocurrent.